UNLV Rebel Caravan rolls on today, a coach's life. And I don't know any other program anywhere. We were just talking about this a few minutes ago that would have an opportunity to put together something like this with two legendary coaches and two soon to be legendary coaches, I imagine. My name is Chet Buchanan. I'm the host, and I'm just going to try and stay out of the way for a coach's life today, and proud to welcome in a two-time state champion, 19 years at Western High coaching the boys, 15 years at Durango High coaching the girls. My Yorkie wants a little piece of the action as well, too. He's a big fan. Rocque is here, along with the new coach of the UNLV Lady Rebels, not new anymore, heading into her second season, Lindy, who's just done an amazing job already with the program. Needs no introduction, has won everywhere he was at, including here at UNLV. One of my favorite people on the planet, Kruger, joins us today. And I still, it's just fun, man, because Kevin, you and I have been friends for a long time. And I'll never forget the first day we met, and just what a magical time it was when you played at UNLV. And it is so cool to be able to say the new head men's basketball coach at UNLV, Kevin Kruger. So welcome, coaches, and I'm looking forward to this. This is going to be a lot of fun today. So thank you all for being here.
Thank you.
Thanks for having us.
So there's a chance for you to win prizes. There's a chance for you to win to ask questions here in the chat portion of our program today. And like I said, there's cool prizes. Also, do not forget, men's and women's basketball season tickets have gone on sale. Go to UNLVtickets.com to get those tickets. And there's a new place for you to get gear, just like the coaches and I are wearing. I don't know if you can get those jerseys. Those are from a while ago, but I'm thinking maybe we can bring these bad boys back. But UNLVgear.com, go see everything that is there. And it's an open discussion. So if you want to be part of it, please jump in. The question that we decided to lead off with, and I think this is really telling, and I think this will set the stage. And I'll start with you, Coach Al. What inspired you to be a coach?
You know, it was one of those things when you're growing up. I played basketball. I wasn't a real good player, but I did have a passion for it. And so I went to the local junior college out of high school because, I wasn't good enough. And it happened that my coach there was Lute Olson, and that was his first year of coaching college basketball. And coach had a way of putting the passion, in your backside. And so I as I learned the game, I had a great mentor early, as far as the teaching of the game. And then again, I was an average JC player, so I went to Cal Poly, which is Division II back then, and my coach there was Dan Ayala. And ironically, he turned out to be Tark's assistant, and he was the women's basketball coach at UNLV for a period. But those two coaches really inspired me that it was a good life. I used to teach Coach Olson. He had the team over. He lived in Huntington Beach. He had the team over and for barbecues, and he had a swimming pool. And so I said, man, I want to be a coach when I grow up because they're rich. Mm-hmm. And he was a high school coach at Marina High School, and then he went on to to a legendary status. But basically, that's what inspired me to get into the field. And without their help and guidance along the way, I wouldn't have pursued it.
Coach Kruger, and you were a good player. You were two-time player of the year in the Big Eight, weren't you?
That was a long time ago, Chet. Yeah, that was back before there were really good players in the league. But no, it's like a lot of guys, you think you're going to play forever, and then when that stops, whether you got cut from high school team or college team or whenever, then it just kind of seemed the next best thing from a involvement standpoint. If you couldn't play the game, then being around players in a coaching way was the next best thing. And we just stepped into a graduate assistant opportunity and then worked from there.
Obviously, it's a different thing when you're coaching. It takes up a big part of your life. How do you balance that with being a father and raising kids? And Lon, I'll stick with you for that.
It's important to balance that. It's pretty easy. I mean, you can certainly spend 24 hours a day coaching, or worrying about coaching. You sleep a little bit of that. But if you want to watch film, video, there's plenty of that to watch. You're dealing with, 14, 15, 18 to 22-year-olds. So certainly you can spend a ton of time there, and you need to, and you do. But you got to include family. I mean, you got to make family a priority, and kind of build everything else around that. If you do it the other way around, that family time gets cheated pretty good. So, we drug the kids to practice, and we go get a meal, then we get back. It's everything revolved around basketball or around the teams, but certainly we included the family as well.
Alan, I see you nodding and smiling a lot through that. Can you add anything to that?
Oh, I think Coach hit it pretty solid, but even at the high school level, which I was at, obviously, but you do have to learn the balance, because I used to tease my college coaches friends. I go, you think you have a lot of time invested, teach 6 classes, grade papers at night, and then go to basketball practice. So there's a different, there are different battles to fight. But much like Coach said, I can remember Lindy in the gym in a playpen, on Saturday practices. Mom needs some time off too. So Saturday practice, she'd bring the girls over, and they'd be in the playpen, and we'd be having practice. And every now and then I have to send the manager over there to quiet them down or give them another toy or something. But we included them in everything that we did on the court. I have great admiration for Coach Kruger, because a lot of coaches talk about family. We all have our own personal family, but our teams are family. And Coach Kruger believes that, and he lives it through example. And I try to do the same thing. We'd go on summer tournaments, and the girls and my wife would be right along there. And in that respect too, Coach kind of hit on it, but he and I have one thing really in common, and that is we hit the lottery on our wives, because you have to have a coach's wife. And a lot of people say that, but Coach and I are both very fortunate in that. Mine's first team all conference. I can guarantee you that.
Lindy, what's that like being Coach's kid?
Obviously I don't know any different. And so Kevin would probably say the same, but it's all we knew, and we loved it. We traveled, we had great experiences, we were exposed to all different kinds of places and people and competition and games. And so, it's really all we knew, obviously, because we were so ingrained in everything, every aspect of it, from practice to games to the travel to, the team dinners at home, all of the above.
Kevin, college coach travels a lot, and there's recruiting, and there's all of that going on too. So that situation is a little different. What was that like for you growing up?
I think I'm just going to echo Lindy. Really, it really was. That's all we knew. Born in when he was a coach at Texas Pan Am in South Texas. So when we were 3, we moved to Kansas State, and so there wasn't ever a time in life where he did something else. But he does joke with me every now and again, when I get on his nerves about this, that, or the other, that the recruiting rules back then were different, saying the time and the schedule of the calendar. And he likes to, do the whole, you guys have it easier. That's kind of that'll be his jab. Your generation's got it so much easier than we had, on the recruiting front. But like Lenny said, it was all we knew. And I mean, I remember him always being, there when he could. And so there was we never felt, me and Angie, in the sense that when he had a choice to be, whether it was at our game or, friends hanging out or whatever, we never felt that he had chose to go do something else. So we were always happy.
Kind of staying in that vein just a little bit, what have you picked up as you're now, it's your first shot at the head job, and what's the biggest thing that you've learned from your dad as you head into this? And obviously I could ask you that again, probably in a month from now, and then 6 months from now, and then a year from now, and we'll probably get a different answer every time. But What do you think that you picked up or that you're going to bring with you?
The one thing we'll really try to do, and that we've tried to do so far, even is just not tackle all the world's problems and all of our problems in a day. Or, when we're here, we want to have both our feet here as a staff and get things accomplished. But when we don't feel like, we're getting anything more, we feel like we've had a good day or a great day, to get, take care of some of those other things that you need to take care of, like with coaches moving here and finding places to live, or going, and if it was Coach Hartman, going to see Joseph and Christine back in Oklahoma for a weekend. That's just something that in our kind of casual conversations, I've kind of picked up from him, that when we're here, we work hard and we get after it, and then when it's time to go home and be with family and kind of set the phone down for a little bit, to really try to do that and make time for that.
Yeah, it's one thing that I know, and it's weird talking about you while you're here, Lon, but it's one thing I know is that your dad is incredibly present. When you're with Lon, you're with Lon, and you feel like you're kind of the most important person on the planet, and it's important, and not a lot of people can do that. So it's pretty cool. Lindy, what have you? So now you do have the benefit of a little time under your belt. So what did you bring with you from your dad into coaching? And what are you looking at now, maybe a year into it, and going, oh, that's what he meant. Oh, I get it.
Well, there's like, obviously I feel like a laundry list now, especially kind of having a year under my belt of the things I wish I knew or didn't know, and now I've experienced, and all of that. I think the biggest thing, from my dad, and specifically, and a lot of, even to my other coaching mentors, is just the positivity that success comes with positivity. And it's important, especially for young people, to stay positive, even when you want to rip your own hair out or rip their hair out, or whatever in between. That it's important to stay positive, and just to really I think the biggest thing that I learned when it comes to the games and practices from my dad, the team often takes the demeanor of the leader, of the coach. And so to have a confident, calm, prepared demeanor in practice every day in games. I remember watching that in my dad when I was little. I'd sit at the end of the bench. Obviously he was at the other end, but the game would be going crazy, and he'd just be kind of pretty stoic and ready to make the next decision. And so I feel like I'm not great at it yet, but it'll be a work in progress to really take that from him.
Well, and there are obviously expectations coming in with you, Lindy, and also with you, Kevin, because your fathers were such prominent coaches. Lindy, for people who don't know, how are you different from your dad? Because obviously you're not going to be a carbon copy, and I don't think he wants you to be, and I don't think you want to be. So for people who don't understand, how are you different from him?
Well, I think being similar is a compliment in itself.
Sure. Sure.
So I appreciate when people say that, we're similar, or we, do a lot of the things the same. I appreciate that. How we're different. I think obviously we have a little bit different personalities, and so many things, I guess. Maybe it's easier to say more how we're similar than different, because that list is much longer than the differences. So I don't know. Honestly, I think there's more similarities. That the differences are probably minuscule to what I try to emulate in the things that I've learned from them.
Kevin, and it's certainly front and center. I mean, because you two are alike. Anybody who knows you knows that you are definitely your dad's son, and yet I know that you want to come in and you want to put your own stamp on it. And again, Lindy, you said that really well too. That yes, anytime anybody goes, yeah, you're like your dad, that's a good thing. It's a really great thing. But Kevin, how are you different?
Again, like Lindy, anytime that somebody says I'm like my dad, I take that as a great compliment, outside of just that we look alike. But I think I don't know. He probably sits still a little better than I do. I think hopefully the people on staff and in our basketball community, or people that we know, aren't just blowing up the comment board right now with all the differences we have. But I think he's just probably a little calmer than I was. Although I will say, when he was younger, and I remember growing up in Florida, he was a little more feisty. You know, this is pre-YouTube, pre all that stuff, and you know, and he got a little more calm as the age as he became an old bike, as Curtis Terry would say.
I will say the difference is definitely our looks. So I've got more hair. Mine is getting gray at different parts. So that's probably our biggest difference, is the appearance.
Coach Al, it's so funny because I've called Al Coach Rocque forever, and I've called Lon Coach Kruger forever, and I've called you nothing other than Coach. So it's weird for me right now to try and to differentiate who I'm talking to right now. But Coach Al, why was it so important? I mean, you spent 34 years coaching young athletes. Why was it so important for you to impact young lives in that way?
I think all coaches, and I fit in that category, we like basketball. You know, we all have different ways of coaching it, different defenses, offenses, and those kinds of things. But it has to be fun. You know, it has to be fun. I really enjoy it. You know, the term basketball junkie gets thrown out randomly, but it's really true. You know, I love to watch. I was a high school coach, but I love to watch college basketball. In my living room, we have 3 big screen TVs, and it's all set up for March Madness. So, you know, our family, Lindy hit on it, but that's kind of, I would tell my buddies, you know, basketball buddies, this is what we do. This is who we are. And I mean that as a compliment, not that we're limited. You know, Lindy was very kind and generous to me on the likes and dislikes. Well, I mean, the you know, the L likes, and how we're not so much alike, but she's at the college level, and for her preparation and whatnot is so much more in depth and so much more detailed. You know, she played for a legendary coach, much like, you know, Coach Kruger. And Tara, and this is no offense to my male friends, but Tara was probably the smartest basketball mind that I ever talked to. And a lot of that rubbed off on Lindy. So her preparation and her hard work is so much more in depth than a high school coach would be. I did it because I loved it. I love the kids. I love the interact. I love to see them move on and be successful in whatever they do. And I will share a quick story though, because you don't know how much impact you have on kids. But Lindy mentioned that she would be on the end of the bench. At Durango, we might have been more famous for our managers than our players. And our managers were at different times. We had Jack Murphy and then Adam Schwartz were managers. And basically, Lindy was 10 years old. And basically the rule was, don't get any technicals at the end of the bench, you know, because they were a lot more animated than I was. But so she might have seen me still paying attention to the games. But, you know, the managers and coaches know those young men. You know, they're pretty intense individuals. So, but that made it fun. You know, it made it fun to have your daughter on the bench. Coach talked to me earlier. Lindy played on our team, on our men's team in his camp. It's a great memory that we have as a family. And Coach mentioned it, so he remembered it, you know. And again, like you, Chad, Coach Kruger is coach to me.
Yeah.
Coach Kevin is Coach Kevin.
Yeah.
You know, I have great respect for Coach Kruger, and I've never called him Lon, and I don't ever plan on it. And so, you know, it's a fun thing that we do for a living. It's a fun thing.
Yeah, no question. And Lon, obviously you were in the NBA with the Atlanta Hawks. You were an assistant with the Knicks, and you could have gone that route, I imagine, had you decided to stick around there. But obviously, your life is a lot of it has been spent in coaching and helping to grow young men. And why was that important to you? Because it obviously is.
I think the basketball, Chad, was kind of the vehicle by which to help young people develop, certainly as basketball players, but all coaches or teachers trying to help them off the court as well, whether it be academically or socially. Like Al mentioned, the opportunity to see young people 10 years after they leave us, 15 years after they leave us, bring back their families and talk about their children. And now, they're coming back and talking about their grandchildren. And that's the most exciting part of it. Certainly playing games is a part of it, and that's what people most notice. But there's so much more to it than that. It's we get young people at 18 years of age. Those next 4 years that they spend in college, there's a tremendous amount of development and responsibility to continue what they've done the first 18 years with their families. So we're an extension of that, and we've always taken that responsibility very seriously, and with great satisfaction when they graduate, move on, and create families of their own.
Yeah, it's funny. It was the part that I didn't expect when I first became part of the program. It was part that I didn't expect later on, that I'd be so happy for Kevin, or that Curtis Terry and I would still be friends. And we were friends, when he was in college, and reaching out to Mike Moser the other day when he joined the Oregon women's staff, and he's like, yeah, man, and all the different, how it really is a family that just continues to grow as you go along. It's really cool. I would imagine, Lindy, I would guess that when we asked the dads earlier why they got into coaching, I would assume your answer is not far from that. And I can't imagine that your dad, the question that they put out here for me to ask was, why did you guys decide to go into coaching? And are your dads happy? Well, I would imagine the stories are probably pretty much the same. And I would think your dads are thrilled, but am I missing anything?
No, it's pretty, the apple doesn't fall far from the tree. So that's true here. And just the impact on young people. Obviously, the love of the game is just the platform and the vehicle. And you have to have that. But then, just to really kind of give back, to impact young lives and try to make a difference is really, why we do it.
Kevin, same question, but again, I can't imagine there's anything different coming out of this.
No, it'd be the same. College was the best experience of my life, especially on the basketball side of things, and to be able to be a part of it in others' lives and help them have that same experience is really kind of the driving force, like Lindy said.
So you find out that TJ is leaving, and now they're going to begin a search. And was this hey, I'll throw my name in and let's see what happens? Or were you, here's the thing I know about your dad, and here's the thing I know about you. You never go into this and think you're not going to win. You were two of the more competitive people, quietly competitive. They will cut your throat. I'm telling you this right now. I played horse against your dad in the parking lot of a Buffalo Wild Wings, and I made a couple of shots, and then I saw him give me a look, and I went, I'm done. That's it. I know I'm done. And I was. But this, as it all played out, was this one of those situations where you went, well, I should express my feelings and I should take a shot at this? And then as it went along, it became more and more real. Is that how it went down?
Yeah, I mean, I think you're probably spot on. The thing that I think is probably different now than even maybe a handful of years ago is, as assistants, you do a lot more things in terms of prepping for that day. So it's not necessarily a surprise if it comes. Had it happened a week earlier or a month later, I think the preparation still would have been the same, and just kind of give it everything you got and put your best foot forward. And because I think that with the game in the college side, the way it is now, it's expected for assistants to want to be head coaches. So there's a lot of prep that goes into it in the off season and the networking and like I said, the preparation. So, but yeah, no, I mean, absolutely wanted to have this opportunity and really just kind of got our ducks in a row and went from there.
A question just came in, and I think this is a good time to answer it. Aaron wanted to know, Coach Kevin Kruger, how do you plan on, okay, so this is your first time at the helm, and now you're bringing in your first staff, and now you've got a bunch of new players that have never played together before. And the question is, how do you plan on developing that team? I don't know any other way to spin that around. I guess it's, you roll it out there and you try and evaluate as best you can. But what, going into it, is it really the one day at a time plan?
No, it really is. I think, with our summer hours, the way they are from the NCAA, I think, you have some options with what you want to do in groups or team settings. But I think the majority of what we do will be group, to have the guys around each other just as much as we possibly can, because it is a new group. They don't know each other very well, other than exchanging phone numbers throughout this whole process and kind of getting to know each other on a personal level. But that's something we want to do. Team building, team bonding is going to be critical for us. And then using that time that we have, that we're allowed to work with them, we're going to want it to be in the group setting as much as we possibly can. And it might be a little more, the language and the verbiage might be a little more of what everybody's used to at the beginning than we would be in, say, year 4, year 5 with the program. But we just really, really like the group we got coming in. We just think they're all rock stars of people, and they're going to be happy for each other. And we really think that can't be, expressed enough, that we've got a group that's going to root for each other. And that will hopefully kind of get through a lot of those early speed bumps when you're feeling each other out and learning each other and wondering about your role and where you're going to play. And a group that's just going to be truly happy for each other should be able to kind of get through some of that maybe a little quicker than if they weren't. And that's kind of what we're banking on. So
Yeah. And Lindy, to that point, you had great success in that first year. And is there anything that you can look at and go, I'm glad we did that? Or did it just kind of happen the right way, and you're still, it kind of in your mind going, well, I guess we did it right. Let's see if we can replicate it. Is there anything that you can look at right there that was a key?
Honestly, you just try to take it one day at a time and use kind of your moral compass and integrity and values to guide your decisions daily. And then hope that, you follow those and really stick to them. Then it lays the foundation that you want to. I think the biggest thing was, in the heat of it, you always kind of question, am I doing the right thing? Is that the right thing? Is this the right thing? Or should we be doing that? And instead of kind of just getting into a constant second guessing phase, you have to really kind of create your formula, stick to it, really based on your values and what you're going to stand for. And then the nice thing, I think, after year 1, and Kevin will hopefully experience this, is like, then you have some success, or you at least, really get the things out of them that you want. And you're like, all right, I guess I am doing something right. Okay, well, we'll keep this going. So that was probably more of the, relief or just satisfaction of knowing, we've never done this before, Kevin and I both. And so you kind of go in a little blind, and obviously we both have great mentors, but you got to do it your own way. And while you're in it, you don't know if it's going to work, if it's the right way, if it's not. But I think, if you stick to what you really believe in and the values that you're going to have, you can't help but be successful.
Coach Al, what's tougher, watching her play or watching her coach?
Well, I hit the trifecta because I've been asked that question before. I got to coach her, and I got to watch her play, and now I get to watch her coach. So far and away, watching her coach is the most stressful.
Really?
And the reason is because, I'm in the background, which is where I belong and where I'm happy to be. But when you're sitting in the stands, or most of the games are on TV, on the computer this year, it's kind of a helpless feeling, because I had so much pride in watching her coach. I know, but maybe not everybody is aware that, they won several games at the buzzer. And I kind of laugh because I go, oh, we ran that play, 2 years ago, or, so I recognize certain aspects of the game that carry over. But I guess it's because I'm so proud of her that it is so much more stressful. When she was a player, it was like, I'm going, hey, you should have forced her left. You should have done this. You should have done that. I was like doing my own coaching. But now it's her, and you said it earlier, Chet, it's Kevin and Lindy, it's their show. And they're going to do it the way they want to do it. And that's how it should be. And I'm sure Coach Kruger agrees too.
Yeah, Lon, you've always been a laid back guy, but you look relaxed, man. You do. You look relaxed. You look happy. This is, I was gonna spin that question around to you of how tough is it right now to not help too much, but I'm sure it's not difficult at all because you let him go, let him get started, let him do his thing.
Oh, absolutely. Kevin's like Lindy in watching her development as well. They're confident people. They're secure people. They are proud of who they are and how they do things, and the intangibles are important to them. Making them more than just basketball as far as on the court, off the court, academically, socially. They'll do great. And my excitement is seeing the city, jump up there and support the two. And they're going to do it the right way. They're going to do it with great enthusiasm. Our hope is to get the city back in Thomas and Mack and make it a home court advantage for both and have fun with it. I know both of them feel like it's the community's program. It's not their program. It's the community's program, and they'll do well. We're excited for both.
I want to build on that just for a second too, because even though how many years were you at Oklahoma?
10 years, finished 10 years.
It seems like it was yesterday. And because while you were immersed 1000% at Oklahoma, but you still had a footprint here with Coaches versus Cancer. And we would see you from time to time. And I'll tell you the cool thing. Lon's never missed a toy drive. I always get a text. I more often than not will get a text on my birthday. And so it was a really cool thing that I realized that not everybody does this. And shoot, Coach Al, 34 years coaching basketball in this city, and this is your hometown. Can you, and we'll start with Lon, can you speak to what makes this community so special? Because nobody ever gives Las Vegas credit for being a great community, for being a great city. It's always the Strip and, and all of everything that goes with that. But why is this place so special to you?
It's a great place because of the people. Barb and I, when we arrived there, I guess, 2004, the thing that struck us in those initial few weeks and months and years is how giving and caring the people of Las Vegas are about others, their citizens. When you're outside, you know about the Strip, but when you live there, it's about so much more. It's about the people. They take care of each other. They care about each other. They reach out when someone has a need. And that's the thing that really impressed Barb and myself, how great they were in that way.
Yeah, Coach Al, again, 34 years. This is your home. You raised kids here. Oh, Las Vegas, you can't raise kids here. You've been a high school coach. You're a high school teacher, a high school coach. What does everybody else miss out on Las Vegas?
Chet, I came here in 1974. There were 9 high schools and, 200,000 people, 250 in the town. My parents, my mother thought I was going to move to Las Vegas and join the mob and marry a showgirl, and I tease my wife because I did marry the showgirl. But the thing about it is, echoing on what Coach said, even back then, it's a small town in so many ways back then, and it remains that. And it's the citizens, the people that live here that keep it like that. It's a warm community. I take this opportunity to thank you for what you do at Christmas with the bike drive, and look how the city rallies around you. And it's one thing after another. We don't have tornadoes and hurricanes and all those kinds of things, but we have a pandemic that we're fighting, and the town is getting behind it. A lot of times cities, the citizenry kind of goes its own direction, but here in Las Vegas, there's just a tight knit community. I'll share, I'm a storyteller, you can tell. Coach Kruger came in 2004, and I met him at a clinic, I think before that, but I talked to him on the phone. And the first time I met him in person here in town, Coach may remember this, the prospects were starting up and they had a game. And Lindy's middle school team was playing at Bonanza High School. And coach says, what time? At 2 o'clock. Coach came out to the game. And, I attributed that to good Midwestern values. And I think a lot of the people that move here have those same kinds of values, and it carries over. Even though the population's boomed, it's still a close-knit community. And Coach hit it on the head. Our goal is to get the people out to the games when we can and fill it. And we want UNLV to be successful in everything. I know you do too. This is our hometown university. This is who we are in Las Vegas. And I love the Raiders and the Aces, and who would have thought that, that we'd have hockey here, and the town's just embraced it. And it's time to embrace UNLV.
Yeah, it really is. Lindy, how, the question just came in. Well, you know what, let me back up just a second, because I want to go off of what your dad just said. How special is it for you to come back here and coach at UNLV? Growing up here, and obviously, if you get the chance to go to Stanford, one of the top programs in women's basketball, you're going to take that. You're going to take that. But how special is it for you to come back to your hometown and coach?
It really has been even more special than I even anticipated and knew. It was a unique and an extraordinary opportunity from the get-go, and obviously there's a lot of heartstrings that are pulled, just with the nostalgia. I think it's known that I was a ball girl back in the late 90s, early 2000s, and I grew up going to the Rebel games and the Lady Rebel games, so there's a lot of things there. But then just now being here and really trying to lead this program, Las Vegans are very prideful people, especially once you kind of claim it as your home and you're gonna really plant your roots here. It's a very prideful place, and I was born and raised here. We're a rare breed, but we do exist out there. And so honestly, I wasn't sure that I would ever come back. And now to be back and to have an opportunity to represent our community at such a grand level, obviously it's a huge privilege and an honor. And I think I'm continuing to reap the benefits of coming home to a place that I love, a place that raised me, a community that I'm a product of. And it continuously fuels my fire to go the extra mile, to do one more rep, to do one more email, to write one more note, because these are people that I know and love, and want to continue to give back and really represent this town, I think, the way that it really deserves to be.
So Devin asked, and I'll start with you, Lindy. How do you plan on keeping local talent in town? Because that's a thing. And of course, everybody wants you to keep the local talent. Oh, that we love the local talent. We want you to keep the local talent. How do you? What's the secret to that?
Well, I think there's a balance. We want to keep great local talent here in Las Vegas. I mean, I think that's really important. We can't take every player in town. We do have to continue to, spread our reach. But to keep the local talent here, I think it's creating a culture and a program that they want to be a part of. And I think that's the first step. And then, showing them and giving them the platform that, if you love this town, if you love this city, you can represent it on an even higher level than you haven't even known yet. And so really kind of trying to blend that and create the great relationships. I mean, how you keep them is go out and see them. I know we're all excited to get out and recruit and do all of that stuff. But, it's really, we can't keep them all, but we definitely want to keep some really good ones here in town. We have a lot of great local talent, so we're excited about the future of girls basketball in Las Vegas.
Yeah, Kevin, same question, although it's tough. I know when Lindy gives such a great answer, it's tough to to build on that. But is there anything that you can add? And especially being a guy that for a few years you were helping to get some of the local talent out of Las Vegas. So now trying to keep the talent in Las Vegas, is there, do you look at that and go, okay, here's what I saw trying to get them to leave, and now how do I get them to stay?
No, I think Lindy said it perfectly. We've got to do a great job here of showing the young players, how much fun they can have being at UNLV, so that they grow up wanting to be at UNLV because their favorite player plays there. And then not only that, when you have so many players that played here, and really as the basketball world's growing, like we've seen, that live here now. So it's not just, the coming here and playing and then going about your way, but I mean, you can have a lifetime of basketball and success and have a great life after college here in Vegas from UNLV. But our job is like Lindy said, we've got to just show the high schools and the middle schools and even down to the elementary schools during camps and games that a running Rebel is what they want to do when they grow up. Because like when we were growing up and when I was growing up watching Dad's teams, the guy I always looked up to was on his team, was one of his players. That was always my dream, was to be a good college player. And so to have that in our program, of have that elementary, that middle school kid growing up to want to be like such and such who plays at UNLV, I think that will really contribute to the recruiting locally as much as anything.
Yeah, and it's funny because you're right. In this town, if you are a known Rebel, this town embraces you at all levels, both men's and women's. And yeah, it's a great selling point. Mike Seifer wins the Lady Rebels jersey. Mike's a longtime supporter of Rebel basketball, both men's and women's. So I think that's fantastic, and it works out great. I thought this was an interesting question too, and I'm going to spin it just a bit. Bob Miller is asking, Kevin, you played pro ball for several years in places like Bulgaria. Now with guys getting the opportunity to go and do that instead of going to college, what advantage do you think that gives you in going, hey, I know that they're throwing money at you and whatever right now, and I know it wasn't always the best of times when you were in Bulgaria. Does that make it easier for you to sell them on coming to UNLV as opposed to maybe going and playing in another country?
Well, I think my experiences aside, what we're starting to see more of and hear more of is even the guys that have gone that route. It's like you kind of mentioned, it may not be as rosy and happy as they kind of anticipate. I mean, it's a business. People's jobs are on the line. The relationships and the friendships aren't as quick and kind of easy as they are when you go through college. But another thing that the college game provides is the platform, the marketing and the reach that college basketball has. I think you're going to start seeing a lot more people maybe here in the next few years not be so quick to want to jump to another country, or a lot of these leagues are starting to pop up here in the States as an alternative to college. Yeah, I think that just having those opportunities though is something that, we have a staff full of people that played, and we can all kind of share our experiences during the recruiting process. But the one thing that the college game does do, I think, is it gives college student athletes just a platform to showcase what they can do with the reach of the TV networks and social media and the level of competition that goes throughout. I think it still needs to be probably priority number one. And then if there's an opportunity elsewhere that's better for them, then that's great for them and their family.
Final thoughts, Lindy, for everybody who hasn't been to Cox Pavilion, hasn't been to see the Lady Rebels in a while, what are they missing?
Well, they're missing great basketball, obviously. We have some amazing young women on our team that really love the game and play with a ton of effort. And I think as a spectator, our style of play is fun to watch. We have women that have a great story to tell. And we're continuing to rise to the occasion. We're setting our bar high. We're going to win championships. And honestly, I want to get more fans that we got to flood over to the Thomas and Mack. So the Cox Pavilion will be, in in the past, because we want to get our season ticket holders up. We want to get our fans in there to where, we need more than 2,000 fans. So we want to be in the Thomas and Mack with the fireworks and the big show, and really pack the house along with the men. So it's been great so far. We missed our fans this year, but hopefully we've really given them something to be excited to come back for. And partnership alignment with Kevin and his crew. It's just been so much fun. They're great guys, and I think I've told him this, but we go farther together. So doing this together, it's really fun to have a counterpart that we can, I walk in there, probably annoy him more than anything, of asking questions and hanging out and picking their brains. So it's really been fun to have a great partnership with them, and excited for both of our futures of the program.
Coach Al, what don't we know about your daughter?
Oh, that's a tough one. She, growing up, she was always the smartest one in the house. So it was an adjustment for mom and I. We're just so happy that both of these young people are getting the opportunity to really get our university back on track. Another quick story, our other daughter was at Virginia Tech, and when they were looking to hire Desiree Reed-Francois, she had been at Virginia Tech. And so I called Allie, I said, hey, do you know this gal that they're looking at for AD? And she says, yes, I do, Dad. And you just got yourself a girl boss. Things are about to change at UNLV. And we're so happy that they have the leadership to bring in dynamic young coaches like Kevin and Lindy, and let's get this thing going. I appreciate, and I'm sure Coach Kruger does, I appreciate the term, he's a legendary high school coach. That's somebody else's term. I'm an old coach. And these young people, we're turning the plate, the table over to them. And I'm happy for them, but just as importantly, I'm happy for our community and for our university that we're going to be on a roll here.
Kevin, it's obviously you got a plan in place, and I imagine I have a reasonably decent idea of what this is going to look like, but give me the elevator pitch. Running Rebel basketball, what's it going to look like?
Well, I think we're going to have a team that's going to be easy to root for. It's going to embrace the mentality, the mindset, the approach of Las Vegas, of the city. This is a fighter's town that enjoys having their back against the wall and proving people wrong. And I think that's the group we're going to have out there on the floor.
And Lon, I don't know how much you've gotten to see. I mean, you've seen Kevin as an assistant. What do you look at your son, who played for you, and now he's going to coach? And what do you look at and you go, yeah, look at that guy. He's all right. This guy, he's all right. What do you see in him?
Yeah, clearly to everyone is the passion he has for being at UNLV. I mean, he considers UNLV, we moved around as a coaching family, but he considers Vegas home. He's always felt that ever since he played there. And he's so excited. His vision is like Lindy said. I mean, they've got a huge vision, bringing back the old players. UNLV basketball's got a great tradition-rich heritage, and get those people back and get the city back, and there's so many other, like Al said, the other young coaches in the program are outstanding. I met most of them a couple of weeks ago, and unbelievably energetic and enthusiastic, and it's fun to be around people that have that energy, and Kev and Lindy have it, and they are driven to do it for Vegas and do it for UNLV, and it's going to be fun to watch them get all that done.
Yeah, I've already heard. Have you met this assistant yet? Have you met that guy yet? Oh, great guy. They're great to follow on social media. I'm like, I have catching up to do. Really excited, Lon. Great. It's going to be great having you back in town. Good luck with Coaches versus Cancer coming up. We got to get out and play golf. One of the great life lessons I ever got was, I'm going to take a 6 on that hole. And I got the stare, and it was, put down whatever score you want. Learned a lot that day. Coach Al, I can't wait until we spend more time together. And I'm here to tell everybody, and I think I've been around long enough to know 2004 from Toy Drive that year, the Rebels had just pulled a big upset up in Reno, and Lon drug Kevin out of bed, and they came to Toy Drive because DJ Allen told them it was important. And they made it down to Toy Drive. And then literally there was talk of, we need to start doing some more promotions and we need to do some things during games. And they said, you want to be the guy to do it. And it was okay. We'll start it with conference right after the holidays are over. And that's how, and now here we are, like just one big giant circle. The future is, so I've been around long enough. I think that I can say this. The future is every bit as bright as it has ever been for UNLV men's basketball and UNLV women's basketball. And I can't wait. And if you can't wait either, UNLVtickets.com. Season tickets are on sale now. And you don't have to look around and go, where can I go to get gear? UNLVgear.com. Get yourself geared up like the coaches are, like I am. And again, I don't know, Kevin, do you have any say in maybe bringing these bad boys back? Because I'll throw it in.
Pretty sweet, huh?
I'll
We
put it in
can
there.
try. We can
I
try.
remember a guy who looked pretty good in those jerseys. Not the 98 one. I think it was number 2. I believe it was what I wore at that time. Again, hey, and congratulations to Buzz Thurber. He got himself a Running Rebel jersey. And again, Coach Al, Coach Lon, Lindy, Kevin, thank you. And thank you everybody who's been watching. What a blast. It's been a lot of fun. Again, UNLVtickets.com, and we will see you in Cox Pavilion, and we will see you in the Thomas and Mack in just a few short months. Go Rebels. Have a great day, everybody.
Thank you, Chet.
Thank you.